Thank you, Reverend Smitty, for inviting me to speak with the Dharma School students today for your Gotan-E, the celebration of the birth of the founder of our tradition, Shinran Shonin. And I'm sorry I'm not able to be with you in person. Unfortunately, I'm just a small picture pre-recorded on the upper corner of your screen here today. But hopefully I'll be able to visit soon. I would love to visit the Buddhist Temple of San Diego. As Reverend Smitty probably mentioned in her introduction, I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, which according to Google Maps is 2,000 miles away from your temple. And I'm a member of the Twin Cities Buddhist Sangha. The Twin Cities is in reference to two cities. Twin Cities is not an actual place, but it's in reference to two cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, which are make up the largest metropolitan area in Minnesota. And the two cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, are separated by the Mississippi River. And we're a fellowship in the BCA. And we don't have a temple building, so I'm speaking to you in front of my home Butsudan, which is right behind me. Minnesota is home, I guess, known as a land of 10,000 lakes. So I wanted to show you a beautiful view of our downtown from one of the urban lakes in our region. But of course, there's winter too, which I'm sure you've heard a lot about if you haven't visited us during that time. And it can sometimes look like this. And that picture on the left, yep, that's me. Now I asked Smitty Sensei about your Dharma School group and was happy to hear that you have many students. You have to understand, I come from a very small Sangha. When I was in my teens, I was often the only young person at the service. So when a visiting minister would be asked to give a message to the Dharma School first, like I'm doing today, they would stand right in front of me and talk directly at me. It was always very uncomfortable, mostly because I always knew I had to pay attention and be on my best behavior. So to reenact that awkwardness, what I'm going to do is speak directly to you, Juliana and Jaden Cruz. First of all, I'm glad that you combed your hair this morning for all of us. Or did you? But I'd like to ask you if you could do me a favor before I start. Can you ask your dad to set a good example for all the kids by getting off of his phone playing Clash of Clans? Yeah, thanks. Okay, I know that was a little weird. And since I pre-recorded this, don't worry, I'm not really looking right at your family. But today is Gotan-E, where we recognize and commemorate Shinran Shonin's birth 849 years ago and express our gratitude for his teachings. So go ahead and check the number, Juliana and Jaden. I did the math. I like to start by reading a passage from the Kyogyo Shinsho in the chapter on practice, where Shinran is quoting from the Sutra of the Immeasurable Pure Enlightenment of Equality. So please join me in Gassho. Rare is it to obtain human life and difficult to encounter a Buddha's appearance in the world. Hard is it to attain the wisdom of entrusting. Should you meet with and hear this teaching, pursue it with diligence. Namo Amida Butsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu, Naman Dabutsu. Now, we often recite the three treasures in our temple services, which says, hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. So when we celebrate a birthday, a celebration of another year, this comes from the understanding that without all of you, and without so many causes and conditions, we would not be here today. So when we recognize the joy of birth as a rare and wonderful gift, we will naturally extend our gratitude to family and friends and to life itself. And this is the same for Shinran's birthday. And although he's no longer physically present, we're grateful for his birth and his teachings continue to be with us and are an integral part of our lives. So when I was a young Dharma School student, I wondered why we didn't sing happy birthday to Shinran. You know, in my child mind, it made sense. After all, it's his birthday. So it's probably fortunate for all of you that I'm not there in person. Otherwise, we might be singing today. But I think it would be best if we skip the cake and the 849 candles, since I think it would be risk burning down the building. So why do we celebrate birthdays? And why is it important that we get together for birthdays, especially Shinran's birthday today? You know, for me, with my self-centered thinking, I always think about getting gifts. But for all of you who are much wiser, it really is an opportunity to extend our gratitude for the person who is celebrating their birthday. Now, birthdays are a chance to honor and show our appreciation to the individual for what they bring to each of us and to the world. For Shinran, It is important to remember he systematically developed the Nembutsu teaching by compiling the writings of the 7 teachers he identified as important to the tradition. The essence of the teaching is found in his writings in the Kyogyo Shinsho, which I quoted earlier. Now, he made the Dharma accessible to the ordinary person like us. Now, our gratitude is also directed toward the generational history that this represents. So when we celebrate birthdays, we recognize that the joy of birth is a rare and wonderful gift. Now, if we can appreciate it from the perspective of Reverend Akahoshi's teaching of gratitude, it is a celebration that comes from the understanding that without all of you, we would not be here today. So we receive so much from others we know and also from who we don't know. And by recognizing this, we are turning around our awareness and focusing towards others. Now, even though I was joking about my self-centered thinking about gifts, it's usually customary to give a gift for a birthday. So one way to look at gifts is we are given things each year of our growth to function in society. And whether they are new clothes and shoes as we grow, or my favorite gift, socks and underwear, or non-material things like the ever-changing support with our activities and interests. There never seems to be a time on the way to adulthood that we don't require something new, because we're always changing. It is something specific for that person, meaning it is a thoughtful personal gift that has meaning for them. Someone took the time to think specifically about you. Now, unless you're a cat. Now, our cat Mochi prefers the box much more than the gift we just bought for him. But really, that is our human emotions being placed on cats. For him, the box gives him joy, and that is what he wanted. Now, gifts are putting form into something formless. It can be a way to express something that is difficult to put into words. For instance, how do we express our love? How do we express that we care? Now, we just celebrated Mother's Day, and we certainly can't talk about our births without our mothers. And as human beings, our lives begin in the shelter of our mother's care and affection, without which we would not survive. So for Mother's Day, we often give a gift of flowers. I know I did. When we see the flowers, it is important to know that it is not just a pretty and fragrant display, but a symbol of our love and gratitude to our mothers. When I was young, I would make my mother breakfast that day. And she always said it was the best breakfast she had, because it tasted better than it was made when it was made with love of her son. And as we receive a gift, realize it is not just socks and underwear. It is a symbol of the formless. And this is like Amida Buddha. We may think Amida is who we see in pictures and statues, putting formless into form for us to understand. But Amida Buddha is dynamic reality of infinite wisdom and compassion. Amida is the embodiment of the principle of infinite wisdom unfolding as compassion. When we say we are all embraced by the Buddha, it means to be sustained by life within all that is inconceivable. Now, Shinran is no longer physically with us, but his gift giving continues for all of us through his teachings. It is because of Shinran, we have the opportunity to encounter the Nembutsu, the beauty of gratitude that we're able to encounter Amida Buddha through Shinran's guidance. And by listening to the Dharma, by experiencing the primal vow, we are given the gift of Nembutsu. Understanding the Buddha's teaching of interdependency of all things will make it clear that our birth and all births are the result of many causes and conditions. Our birth is the result of many people, and our lives are intertwined with all others. Realizing this, we can see that our own birth is truly a rare and wonderful gift. We have an obligation to live out this life in accordance with the teachings of the Buddha. Namo Amida Butsu acknowledges our awakening to our inclusion in this incredible life process. The practice of Shinshu is to develop the heart and mind to align with the truth that we have received in this life by no effort of our own, through gifts given to us. Now, the voicing of Namo Amida Butsu is both a stimulus and a response to our awakening to the reality of being included as an integral part of this vast universe. So when we celebrate the birth of Shinran Shonin, we're reminded we are the recipients of the gift from Amida through Shinran's teachings. And we are expressing our gratitude for what he brought to the world, making it accessible to all of us without exception, giving us the opportunity to encounter the Buddhist teachings. Shinran spread the message that when we encounter the primal vow, we then realize the infinite wisdom and compassion that is always there for us, the power of others that made it possible for us to hear the Dharma. We receive the great treasure ocean of virtues, and it's not something we have to pursue. It is always there. It is always there for us. It is a gift for us throughout our life. So I'd like to close by once again reading a passage from the Kyogyo Shinsho in the chapter on practice, where Shinran is quoting from the Sutra of the Immeasurable Pure Enlightenment of Equality. Please join me in Gassho. Rare is it to obtain human life, and difficult to encounter a Buddha's appearance in the world. Hard is it to attain the wisdom of entrusting. Should you meet with and hear this teaching, pursue it with diligence. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. So thank you very much, and thank you, Cruz family, for allowing me to give you a little bit of a hard time today.